Boy, I hope these are better than the last ones like this. Hey folks, I am the Mighty Plantain, and we have got the Steel Reserve Alloy series from the Steel Brewing Company. I believe it's the same folks who are responsible for um, extra gravity malt liquor, I guess it is. As it says here, it's brewed for extra gravity and exceptionally smooth flavor. Union made. Hey, there's something good about it. I don't know what the 211 on here is for, but they're all 24 ounces. They're all 8% ABV. We've got the spiked blue raz, the spiked watermelon, spiked punch, and just blackberry, BLK berry. Not even the full word black for blackberry. But this one's apparently not spiked because it's the only one that doesn't say spiked on it. Alright. Yeah, I said these are hopefully better than the last ones because I did a set, I think it was only 3, of the Natty Rushes. It might have been 4 flavors of that too. But yeah, Natty Rush from the folks who make Natty Light and Natty Ice, and it was basically just awful stuff. So let's start with the watermelon on this, because I have a feeling it's going to be the least the most subtle flavor. Watermelon doesn't tend to have a whole lot of flavor to it that would interfere with the others. I'm going to cleanse the palate with water in between here, but I'm getting a hint of watermelon smell. It's actually remarkably bready smelling too, though, like a yeast roll. Yeast roll mixed with a little bit of watermelon. This is the most sour watermelon I think I've ever tasted. It's got a lot of sourness to it. It's almost citrusy and sour, with a hint of watermelon in the finish. Otherwise, they did a pretty good job of covering up whatever the other flavor of the brew is supposed to be. Just not a really great job of actually conveying a watermelon taste. It's got that chemical aftertaste to it that you'll get in a lot of the newer malted products, like the Not Your Father's stuff and the Henry's hard sodas and Best Damn products. It's got that chemical aftertaste to it as well, but it's way more pronounced in this than it is in those products. It's kind of a subtle thing that's kind of there. In this, it's in your face. You can't ignore it. Pardon. Like I said, they did a good job of covering up the flavor of whatever else is in there with this citrusy, slightly watermelon chemical aftertaste flavor. It just doesn't really convey a very strong watermelon flavor. So we're going to set that at a 1 out of 5. It's not undrinkable, but it ain't great either, and it's definitely not very strong watermelon. You know, I'll give it a 1.5. 1.5 for being as drinkable as it is. Here we go. Next up, let's do the fruit punch. A little more sour coming through on that. Some slight sweetness. Honestly, it tastes almost the same as this one, but with like more of an apple flavor. Like a citrusy, sour flavor up front, bit of apple coming through, and then this that slight chemical aftertaste. I don't know. I got to give that a 1.5 out of 5 as well. Again, it's actually pretty damn drinkable. Punch. You can pretty much say as long as it's got some kind of fruit flavor, they hit the mark as to what they were going for. Because it's so general, anything could be punch. But yeah, it's sweet and it's slightly fruity, and just that aftertaste is killing me. Honestly, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 1.5 as well. Oh, spiked blue raz. Might have been sitting in the liquor store for a while. There's some kind of debris around the edge of the can, but I don't think it's going to be where I'm putting my lips. So, it actually has a blue color to it. That's the first one that actually smells exactly like what it's supposed to be. Now, blue raspberry isn't really a thing. It's a fucking flavor invented by the candy industry. But this has that sour raspberry berry aroma that you'd expect from anything else that's called blue raspberry. Ugh, pardon. Whereas, fruit punch is pretty general, and watermelon, there was a hint of watermelon aroma, but this smells like blue raspberry flavor. And it tastes like blue raspberry. They have fully hit the mark with this on the flavor. That chemical aftertaste kicks in, and it's pretty rough. But up front, it's got that sour berry flavor that you associate with blue raspberry. I'm hitting this with a 2 out of 5. It's almost an average brew. And bear in mind, on a scale of 1 to 5, a 2.5 is average. So, for so many reasons, these are not quite hitting that average, but this one's getting close. It's 2.5 for me. And again, it's because they hit that blue raspberry note right on the head. That, in terms of the flavor. Now let me just outline this real quick before I open up this final blackberry one. The reason they're not rating higher, the reason these aren't getting the 2.5 as an average, is basically that chemical aftertaste. And the fact that the one flavor that's supposed to be there just isn't. They're not an overall pleasant experience for me. And the reason I wouldn't rate them as average is because it's not something I would actually drink on a regular basis based on any of this. So, if you think I'm being too harsh, that's my reasoning. I would not pick these up. I probably wouldn't gravitate towards them if they were offered for free either. I'd look for a different option. So that's a couple of things that are making me go less than average on them. But hit me up in the comments, the email link below, if you agree, disagree. I want to hear from you, and if you disagree, I definitely want to hear your reasoning for rating any of these higher than I have, because changed my mind. We're gonna hit the blackberry. I think I forgot to cleanse with water because I went on my little tirade there. That's promising as well. That smells very strongly of blackberry. Plus the can's purple, and purple rules. False hopes based on the aroma. That is nothing but a mouthful of that chemical taste. And it's probably the high ABV that's contributing towards that. A lot of things that have a higher ABV, beers and other types of things, they'll have that weird sourness and sometimes booziness, but I've always described it as a bit of a sourness before, unless it's obviously boozy. But then it just lends itself to this chemical taste, and I'm getting nothing but a mouthful of that from the blackberry one. I mean, little tiny bit of actual fruity sourness, and maybe a hint of some berry flavor, but mostly just that chemical tang. It's very off-putting. I think I caught some of the debris from the rim of the can too. Yuck. Yeah. I'm gonna hit that with a 1 out of 5. It's definitely coming in lower than the others. So I guess a couple of 1.5s, a 2, and a 1. Not exactly high marks, and I already went on a little stint explaining where that's coming from. I'm losing my train of thought here, folks. I don't know if this stuff's hitting me harder than I thought it would, or if it's just that I don't really know what to say. I'm not a fan. Not a fan. Like I said, I would not gravitate towards these. Even if they were offered for free, I'd look for a different option. You know, economically speaking, they're a great option. At 8% ABV, 24 ounces, I think these were like maybe $2 a piece, if that. Whew, pardon. So, you know, for $8, there's enough here to get wasted on, even for a guy like me, you know? So, not a half bad option when you look at it economically. But in terms of the pure taste experience, I can't recommend them at all. So, like I said before, that's just my opinion. Hit me up down in the comments, the email link down below. Love to hear what you have to say. Till next time, folks, thanks for tuning in. Cheers. And remember, sometimes I drink the crap so you don't have to. You're welcome. I don't know why I drank that one. My least favorite. And I went back to it. I think probably because I'm going to finish that one off first and then work my way down. These guys are going to have to go back in the fridge while I do that. I'm going to give this a minute or two, so hopefully that weird audio interference that I keep getting goes away.